ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight, because he understands the fight that we're up against.
Welcome to Behind the Fame, and thank you for being here. Your support truly helps this channel grow and keeps these deep dives coming. Now let's break down what really happened. Joe Rogan has been openly questioning Erika Kirk's recent public moves, and online chatter has exploded into a new wave of speculation, with some people claiming she's trying to position herself at the very top of conservative politics. To be clear, these are internet theories, not proven facts. But the reason this conversation is spreading so fast is because of one moment that viewers can't stop replaying. At a recent Turning Point event, Erika took the stage and said something that made people pause. She told the crowd that no one could ever replace Charlie. That part sounded like a widow honoring her husband. But then, in the same sequence, she compared Vice President J.D. Vance to Charlie. And that's where the clip started circulating everywhere, because people felt the contrast was jarring. When J.D. Vance walked on stage, the greeting between them became the main focus online. Some viewers saw it as a normal public interaction. Others thought the hug looked unusually warm and lingered longer than expected for a formal political setting, especially given the context. A high-profile married politician greeting a widow in front of cameras, staff, and a crowd. That single moment is what people are now treating like evidence, even though it can also be read as nothing more than a public show of support.
Gotten several requests to decode this video with Erika Kirk and JD Vance. Let's look at JD Vance's side of the hug first. He gives a tight hug with a pat on the back. So some people often pat people on the back. That's just kind of how they manage a longer hug. And for some people, that patting on the back is what they do to comfort someone else. He also rests his hands after the hug for a second on her waist area, which can be a sign of affection and or romantic interest. It's the move to slide her hands up and grasp and cradle his head that is getting so much attention. This is a move that we women do when we are in a deep kiss, which is why it looks so very intimate. Erika then ends her hug by grasping his shoulders, which is a sign of affection and closeness. That said, grief can do really wonky things to humans, but this is wonky for sure. I'm Yanni Sarnblad, and I teach microexpressions and all things.
There, social media did what it always does. It zoomed in, slowed it down, clipped it, replayed it, and turned it into a storyline. You'll see comments claiming the interaction felt too familiar, comments insisting it was totally normal, and others stretching it into a bigger narrative about ambition and image building. Some body language commentators even began breaking down the moment frame by frame, arguing that the tone of the interaction didn't match the seriousness of the setting, while others pushed back and said body language analysis is often overconfident and easy to misread. This is where the JD and Usha Vance angle gets pulled into the discussion. Online, people are pointing to JD's recent faith-focused messaging and debating what it means for his public image, his political base, and his personal life. But here's the reality. There is no verified proof of any private plan, relationship shift, or personal intention beyond what's publicly stated. What we do have is a viral clip, a controversial comparison, and a public moment that viewers are interpreting in wildly different ways. So the real question becomes, did the internet catch something meaningful? Or is this just another case of a 5-second clip being turned into a full-blown storyline? The moment everyone keeps replaying is the hug.
Did y'all just see that? Y'all, let me show you this again. Watch his hand.
Viewers pointed to the length of it, the closeness, and the body positioning, arguing that it looked more familiar than formal. Some even focused on where hands were placed and how long the embrace lasted. Others dismissed it as a normal public interaction in a highly emotional setting. What really fueled the conversation, though, was Erika's expression. She appeared relaxed, even smiling. To some, that smile looked genuine and comfortable rather than solemn. And because this happened so soon after a very public tragedy, people began asking whether the tone matched the moment. That's where interpretations split sharply. Half the internet called it harmless. The other half insisted it meant something more. Then attention shifted to someone else in the room, Usha Vance. A single photograph of Usha hugging Erika began circulating widely. On the surface, it looked like two women supporting one another. But online commentators started analyzing Usha's facial expression, suggesting she appeared tense or emotional in a deeper way. Others argued that reading complex meaning into one frozen image is risky and often misleading. Still, the photo became symbolic. Some described it as moving and heartfelt. Others described it as heavy or uneasy. And when a moment becomes symbolic, it takes on a life of its own. Online.
Confronted Usha Vance. I held her hand and I told her, honestly, I do not know how I'm going to get through this. She told me something. She said, you know when you're on an airplane with your kids and it's the last 15 minutes of the flight, things are crazy. Kids are not cooperating, toys are flying everywhere and everyone's screaming. And you think to yourself, cannot wait for this flight to land. And it's 15 minutes before you land. She told me, you will get through these 15 minutes and the next 15 minutes after that. Usha, I don't think you realized it then. Those words were exactly what I needed.
Speculation escalated when TikTok users began comparing this hug to other public hugs Erika has given at events. In those clips, interactions appeared more restrained and formal. Commenters pointed out that other men kept more physical distance, which made the JD Vance moment stand out in contrast. Whether that difference reflects context, familiarity, or simply camera angles is impossible to know, but the comparison became central to the narrative. What complicates things further is Usha's earlier support. After Charlie's passing, Usha reportedly stayed close to Erika during difficult moments. Erika publicly thanked her and described her as supportive and wise. At one point, Erika used the word confronted when recounting a conversation with Usha, which sparked more online interpretation. Some saw that word as implying tension. Others suggested it may have simply reflected an honest or emotional exchange.
Said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the f up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not going to fit.
Not gonna fit in a backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof. What? This story is horseshit. Like none of these things make any sense.
There, speculation snowballed. Viral comments began suggesting dramatic future scenarios involving JD, Usha, and Erika, none of which are supported by verified evidence. It's important to pause here. These are internet theories, not confirmed plans or proven realities. Political figures are often placed at the center of exaggerated narratives, especially during emotionally charged periods. What's actually verifiable is far simpler. JD Vance is a married public official. Erika Kirk is a high-profile political figure navigating intense public scrutiny. A public event produced a hug that some interpreted as unusual. A photograph captured an emotional moment. Social media amplified both into a broader storyline. And now the question isn't whether a hug happened, it's whether people are seeing intention where there may only be optics. If you're watching all this unfold, ask yourself, are we analyzing behavior or projecting meaning onto it? Is this a calculated strategy or a moment blown out of proportion in a hyper-online era? Now, if someone is preparing for a presidential run in 2028, image matters. Optics matter. The spouse standing beside a candidate becomes part of the campaign whether they want to be or not. That's where the online theory machine kicked into overdrive. Some commenters began speculating that if JD Vance were to run for president, he would need a partner who resonates strongly with the conservative Christian base, someone already embraced by that audience. And in those discussions, Erika Kirk's name kept surfacing. She's a public figure, openly Christian, widowed in a highly public tragedy, and now leading a major conservative organization. To some online voices, that combination looked politically powerful. From there, the theory spiraled. The claim circulating isn't based on evidence, it's speculation. It suggests that JD could eventually separate from Usha, frame it around religious differences, and later align himself publicly with Erika. Supporters of this theory argue the optics would be framed as two people bonded by tragedy finding love. Again, this is internet conjecture, not documented fact. But once an idea like that gains traction, it spreads fast. What fueled it further were JD's own public comments about religion. In a recent speech, he spoke about his wife's Hindu upbringing and expressed hope that she might one day share his Christian faith. Some listeners interpreted those remarks as heartfelt. Others saw them as uncomfortable to air publicly. Critics argued that discussing a spouse's faith in that way could feel dismissive or pressuring. Supporters countered that it reflected personal belief and honesty. It's important to ground this in reality. JD and Usha Vance have had an interfaith marriage for years. Their wedding incorporated both traditions. There is no confirmed indication of divorce, separation, or political maneuvering tied to religion. The viral theories are built on interpretation, timing, and optics, not documented plans. Another layer that intensified the narrative was discussion of something called Pauline privilege, a Catholic doctrine that can apply in specific religious circumstances. Online commentators began speculating about whether it could theoretically be used in a future scenario. But again, that's theoretical theology being applied to a marriage where no formal action has occurred. There is no public evidence suggesting it's being pursued or even considered. Then, Joe Rogan entered the conversation. On his podcast, Rogan expressed skepticism about multiple aspects of the broader situation surrounding Charlie Kirk's death and the public aftermath. He didn't make direct accusations. He used words like suspicious and questioned whether all the details made sense to him. Rogan's style has always been to raise questions rather than deliver verdicts, and when he does that, millions listen. His comments reignited debate, not just about optics between Erika and JD, but about the official narrative surrounding Charlie's death. Rogan asked whether all elements of the case added up. He questioned timelines and logistics. That doesn't equal proof of wrongdoing, but it does amplify doubt in the public conversation. And here's where things require balance. Yes, Erika Kirk's public role expanded significantly after Charlie's death. She assumed leadership at Turning Point USA, she became more visible, she stepped into a powerful position. That's factual. But public benefit after tragedy does not automatically imply orchestration or intent. Correlation is not proof of coordination. When you combine a highly publicized hug, public remarks about religion, a potential 2028 political timeline, Rogan raising questions, Erika's rapid rise in visibility, it can look like a dramatic narrative arc. But narratives aren't evidence. Right now, what exists are interpretations layered on top of public moments. No verified divorce filings, no confirmed romantic relationship, no official presidential announcement for 2028, no documented coordination between Erika and JD beyond public political events. The internet tends to fill in blanks faster than facts arrive. So here's the real question. Are people witnessing calculated political positioning, or are they constructing a larger story out of emotionally charged moments and high-profile optics? As always, separate what's confirmed from what's conjecture. Question carefully, analyze responsibly. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this is just optics amplified by social media, or do you believe something bigger is unfolding behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. These stories don't end with one viral clip. They evolve layer by layer, and we'll be here breaking it down every step of the way.